Graham. We heard your thoughts earlier this week about the Super League, and I think most people were kind of fully appreciative of what you said and how you said it. Wondered what your thoughts were now going forward in terms of, now that it's collapsed, what's the next step? Do you feel like those clubs need sanctioning?
Well, I wouldn't go as far as that. I think it's a case of, as I said after the game, to remain vigilant, because I think there's still a movement to do something. I think we have to understand that the game will always move forward. The format of the Champions League will always be tweaked, but I think we should not just think about the big teams, not just think about the big countries. European football is about European football, and teams from lesser countries have a right to play in the Champions League as well, or at least compete and dream. And I think that the whole part of that is what makes the competition so special. Just like the Premier League, there's some clubs in the Premier League that probably, realistically won't compete to win the Premier League, but that doesn't mean to say that they shouldn't compete in it. So I think we have to remain vigilant and wary of what competition is, how important it is, and of course to do the best for the game. I think we have to, as an industry, just be mindful that we can't just keep saying we need more money, we need more money, we need more money, and that comes from the supporters, or that comes from the people that's watching the game. I think we have to understand that as an industry we might need to be a bit more responsible with how we're spending our money and how we're using our money, and not just keep going and saying we need more, because in the end I think there's a danger that people say, no, sorry, I'm gonna tune into something else.
Do you think that football will heed its lesson? What's the biggest do you think they can take from the last few days? Because in a sense there has been some positives, hasn't there, in the way that the U-turns were taking place?
No, absolutely, loads of positives in terms of how everybody got behind this quite serious situation. The way the media handled it, I thought, was really good. Pundits, everybody spoke well and tried to put a stop to it. But at the same time, I remember speaking a year back, when we were in the start of the pandemic, and people were talking about, again, how football needs to reset, how football needs to have a think, and we're coming out of that, and we're into a situation where we're not really resetting. We want more and more. I want to try and create this situation which is again about increasing revenue, increasing profit at the expense of competition, at the expense of values, at the expense of the support. So this is how football is and how life is. Sometimes you forget pretty quickly, and then you carry on and you move forward. And always, again, I've used it before, but we have to remain really vigilant. We've got ourselves in a situation where private companies are owning football clubs, so they're not maybe football clubs anymore in the truest sense. So it's hard on the one hand to want the money and the income that the private companies and the TV companies bring, and at the same time we've got to balance that with the needs and the position of the supporters, and we probably haven't got that right, and we need to try.
And just one other thing on this, it's almost lost but really strong from Patrick Bamford after the Leeds game, and the response, as you say, was quite phenomenal, and it's how you use that for other things. I mean, he pointed to the problems of racial abuse. If we could get behind that in the way that fans got behind the Super League, then football can be a really powerful force for good, can't it? I mean, can you see a situation happening like that? How do we tap into that kind of energy and power that this has created?
Well, I think I agree with him. I think football can be and is a vehicle for positive change. I think why everybody got so behind this, of course, it's about there was a financial implication, but I think mostly it was about values. It was about what competition means, the integrity of our sport, and I think if we can align that to other forms of discrimination, whether it's on race, whether it's on gender, whether it's on sexuality, whatever it is, then I think we should. And the positive thing again of the last few days is you can see how possible it is. I think we can be proud as a football community how we dealt with this situation, and now the challenge is, can we use it in a better way for other serious challenges we have in society?
All of which the other night sort of overshadowed slightly a really good point for yourselves, wasn't it? How do you reflect on the performance and take away kind of all the emotion around it, which is quite difficult to do, isn't it?
Yeah, it was just, like, as I said after the game, it was a tough couple of days for everybody really, and credit to the players, they stuck at it, defended very well, a very disciplined team performance. Had some chances at the end, could have won, but in the end probably a point's about fair, and we were happy with that, because Chelsea they were in a really good moment, and they are in a really good moment. They've had some fantastic results, and Thomas Tuchel has done an amazing job there. So for us to come away with something is, I think it's historic from a club perspective. I don't think we've had that before. So now we have to go again, prepare again, and get ready for Sheffield United.
I know Ben White, so I've been reliably informed 77 of the last 78 games I think he's played for you. That's going to have to shift your thinking, isn't it, a bit?
Yeah, I mean, he was ever present for Leeds as well, and he has been with us. He's got that type of athleticism, is able to just play. So yeah, we have to find a solution without Ben. We've got options, so we'll have to think about that over the next day or two. But yeah, we'll miss him. But again, it's football. It's part of life. We have to deal with it.
And Sheffield United, their relegation confirmed. I mean, in a sense, the pressure's off them, isn't it? So I guess it makes it a little bit trickier to plan for. They want to do themselves proud in the last couple of games.
Yeah, exactly. I think you're right. They haven't got that pressure or worry or whatever it is, whatever word you want to use in terms of staying in the league. I think probably they've felt that it's just been a thing waiting to happen. I think, but when you look at them play, they're still fighting, they're still running, they're still acting in a way that is a Premier League team. I'm sure they'll want to finish off as well as they can. They're all playing for their futures. All the players are playing for their futures. The coaching staff are doing the same. So it's going to be a tough game for us. We've got a lot of respect for them as a group and as a team, as a club. So we have to be good, we have to be ready, we have to be lucky, all those things.
And just finally, the eye, Graham, the eye. As soon as you came into focus, what on earth has happened between the other night and now? That is quite a shiner.
I'd love to be able to tell you there's a heroic, chivalrous story here that I can make myself look really good, but unfortunately I just missed my footing walking over on some steps and then went crashing into a metal railing. And I've got a bit of whiplash on my back, and I sort of look a little bit better, so the lady upstairs tells me, in terms of I'm looking a bit more rugged and handsome, but I think she's crazy, of course.
Where did you do that, and had you had a little tipple or not?
Well, no, that's the thing. I can't even say that. I can't even blame it on anything. I was literally walking on the beach, trying to look for where I could shelter on the beach for some wind, and missed my footing, missed my step, wasn't thinking. Probably had too much on my mind from the last couple of days, and boof. Thankfully, it's only hit my eye, my cheek. It could have been a lot worse.
Your modelling days might be over.
They were over a long, long time ago, if ever they started.
Brilliant. Thanks, Graham.
Cheers.
Hi, Graham. Following on from that, apart from your own, any other injuries in the squad that you need to be aware of?
No, everybody came through the game okay. Obviously, we're just still in the recovery process, so there's a couple of lads that we need to be careful of. Obviously, Adam Webster's not played for a while, Dan Byrne as well, to a certain extent Danny Welbeck, so we just need to keep monitoring them, but no injuries from the game. Percy Tau's been recovering from some tight hamstrings, so that's why he wasn't in the group on Tuesday night. So, but he's trained this morning with the team, so we'll see how he reacts. apart from that, everybody, apart from obviously the longer term ones, are still unavailable. But we've got a good group.
And you talked about Tuesday, being a good point. Was there any disappointment in the squad or in yourself with not coming away with 3 points and with delayed chances?
Well, you always get a little bit greedy, I suppose, but in the cold light of day, and the general feeling afterwards was it was a night. There was a tough game against a tough opponent with a lot going on around it. It was important that we were competitive. It was important that we showed a good mentality, an understanding of the position we're in, which is we're fighting for everything, and we did that and managed to stay in the game long enough to create some danger at the end. But overall, I think a point's fair, and we move on and we prepare for the weekend.
I mean, as you've already mentioned, it's a difficult one. Those 3 points are those ones that you would feel are essential, crucial, that you should be taking. But as Gail mentioned, a relegated team, hard to prepare for. I mean, how crucial are those 3 points for Brighton right now?
Well, every game you go into in the Premier League, and certainly at this stage of the season, every point is vital. That's how it is. Our task is to make sure we get the amount of points at the end of the season that is necessary for us to remain in the league, of course, and then we want to try and get as many points as we can. So 3 points helps you, there's no doubt about it, but it's the Premier League, and I don't expect anybody to roll over. No one's going to give us the points. We have to earn them, we have to fight for them, we have to play well, we have to do everything good, because the opponent's going to be fighting, the opponent's going to want the points, and that's certainly going to be the case at the weekend.
Finally, from me, spoke to Yves Bissouma earlier. How crucial has he been this season? How have you been rating his performances in terms of his development and his consistency?
I think he's taken a step this season. I think he's he's always had these incredibly high top-end actions that are breathtaking at times. But it's about him understanding the game a little bit more, about understanding what is his best role, how he can help the team, and I think just being a Premier League player every day, every minute of his life, and that's what he's trying to do. I think he's taken some steps, like I say, and he's been really important for us. Plays a really good role, and delighted with his form.
Thanks very much.
Cheers.
Hi Graham, I know you've spoken about the return of Adam Webster, but how important is it to have Dan Burn back? That's quite timely, isn't it?
Yeah, to have both of them back. We were a little bit light, if I'm honest, Johnny, while those two were away, because we managed with the three that we had, with Joel, Dunkey and Ben, but if you get any problems or any injuries or any suspensions, you're down to just the two. So nice to have those back. We need to be careful with them in terms of making sure that they've recovered. But on and off the pitch, I would say they're important for us, because they bring a personality and a character, and then they have their attributes on the pitch, which are of course useful.
Saying that, in 2021, you've had 8 clean sheets in your 16 Premier League games. That's some achievement.
Defensively, I would say as a team we've been really, really good. I think there was a stage where we seemed to concede from not too much. To be honest, I think we've at times been quite heavily punished, and that can happen in this league. But generally, I would say the way we've defended has been really, really good, led by Dunkey in terms of our captain and a leader at the back. But I think as a collective we've been really, really strong, and credit to all the players for that. They've been fantastic.
With regard to Sheffield United, the squad isn't vastly different to last season. Do you think they've been hit particularly hard by the lack of fans, perhaps?
I think it's a combination of that. Yeah, I think the way they play, and certainly at Bramall Lane, there's a a completely different animal there, really, with crowd versus no crowd. You have to say that they get the ball in the box a lot, which gets the crowd involved. I think they've been caught with some injuries to key players, and then the margins of the Premier League. I think they've been on the losing end by the odd goal a lot. So maybe this time last year it was going their way, and that just shows how football can be sometimes. But as I said earlier, they're going to be fighting. Their fate has been sort of sealed now. But that doesn't mean to say they can't make the most out of the Premier League games that they've got. And as individuals, they can make a case for themselves to remain in the Premier League if they're not with Sheffield United, or they can be part of things going forward. So there's a lot to play for. I expect a spirited performance. I expect a hard game. I expect a tough match.